Now, at first, myself and many others thought that this Kickstarter campaign for big games like this wasn't really a good idea. The thought process was, for a game like Wonderful 101, is that Nintendo could just port it over to the Switch. Why do we have to pay for it? But after doing some digging and looking into the way that Platinum Games saw it and the licensing issues, I thought this was actually a really good decision. Normally, Kickstarter campaigns are for indie games. We have Shovel Knight, A Hat in Time, and even Mighty Number 9, which, I mean, we didn't really need that. And there are many other games that got started and funded on Kickstarter that ended up being great. And the thing is, does a company like Platinum Games, someone who has put out banger after banger after banger, sold millions of copies and made tons of money, need to start up a Kickstarter? Well, in all reality, no, they really don't have to. But nowadays, when you look on Twitter, you look on other social media, you see people always talking about, I want this game ported, I want that game ported, I want this game remade or remastered, I just want it. If I literally had a nickel for every time I heard something from somebody about a remaster or a port of Super Mario Sunshine, I would just be able to retire tomorrow. And the thing is, when you have that player engagement, when you have people who are willing to put out the money for it, why not go on Kickstarter? You see, the thing is that Wonderful 101 was on the Wii U. The Wii U didn't sell a lot, and Wonderful 101 also didn't sell a lot. It's actually a joke that Wonderful 101 sold 101 copies. So keeping all that in mind, it's really important that instead of just listening to people on Twitter and putting out the money for it up front, why not just get money from the people who are shouting and saying that they want this port and just do it? Like, yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of development time because the game's already made, it just has to be ported at this point. The fact of the matter is that it's a risk. There's no guarantee that Wonderful 101 would have sold a lot of copies if they didn't do a Kickstarter. Just by porting something over to the Switch, it doesn't mean it's going to sell like gangbusters. Like, yeah, it will probably sell like gangbusters, but you don't really know for sure. And for all the people who said that they would buy the port on Switch, they can put their money where their mouth is and actually support it and fund it and actually put their pre-order down for the game. And that's exactly what happened. The game is funded and it's going to be ported over to not only the Switch but to Steam and PS4. Because of the people who put out their money and supported it, we're going to get the game now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And at this point, it doesn't matter if it sells a lot or not because you already see how many people have backed it, and all the people that backed it are the ones who are going to be getting the game in the first place. That's the sales numbers right there. This sort of thing in certain situations could be seen as being a predatory scheme. Without going too much into the situation, Shenmue 3, for example, was a very particular game that ended up being a little bit worse than it could have been. Or a lot of bit worse. I honestly don't know. I didn't buy the game, I didn't play any Shenmue games, I don't care, but I heard a lot of bad things about it. And in this case, we know what we're getting. We know what Wonderful 101 is. I literally have the game sitting right next to me right now on Wii U. And not only do you have your fans support and trust that this game is going to be good because, well, it's already been out, we already know what it is, but now you can put a number and a face to who is actually going to buy this game because they've already bought it. And now if you're one of the people who put down your money toward this game, you know when it's going to come out, you know what to expect, and all you gotta do is wait. And one thing that makes this good for the future of gaming as a whole is that when we have games like this where we already know the product that we're going to be sold, why not just have a sort of pre-order measure like this? There are people today now talking about a Beautiful Joe remaster or remake, and honestly, if there were a Kickstarter for a Beautiful Joe remaster remake, I'd put down my money for it. I've played the Beautiful Joe games, I know how they play, I like them, I enjoy them, and if I already know the product I'm going to get, why not just put down my money for it and try and get it faster? And at the same time, it takes away the risk from these companies, and it's not really a bad thing to take away the risk from them if you already have an idea of what you're going to get. Because on one hand, they could come out with a Beautiful Joe remake on Switch and PS4, Xbox One, and it could sell no copies, or they can make a Kickstarter, have an idea of how many copies it's going to sell, set a goal for themselves, and it's going to get released and out to whoever the hell supported it, and it's going to be able to sell on shelves too. But dialing it back, if it's not a game that we already have an idea of what it's going to be, it could just end up like Shenmue 3 again. So yeah, there is something to be said about Kickstarter projects, and especially from bigger companies, it's not always that you're going to pay for what you get because sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get. when you back these projects, you don't really get a good sense of what the product is going to be in the end. There could be a lot of bugs, there could be a lot of issues when it releases, and you just don't know until it comes out. But looking at this Kickstarter situation from the point of the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter, it definitely looks like it's going to be a good idea for companies to do this in certain situations. But never forget, the most important thing is to always speak your mind and tell them what you want, because these companies are looking for your money. Stuff like this won't happen unless you put down the money for it, unless you say something about it. They want to get something out of you, and if it's not worth it, they're not going to do it. So yeah, for those of you out there who are shouting at Nintendo to make a Mario Sunshine remake, just keep doing that. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you support these Kickstarter projects? Do you think that it should be something that companies do more often from now on, or what? And that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have an amazing day.